Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing the what's next on Andy Ruiz Jr., the former unified heavyweight champion, as he's coming off of one of the biggest wins of his career, a hard-fought but controversial 12-round unanimous decision win over Luis Ortiz, as they collided on Sunday, September 4th in the main event of a Fox pay-per-view card. Ruiz scored a couple knockdowns in that fight that helped the fight be a lot closer. He got outlanded only by a couple shots, but he really got outthrown and outworked by Ortiz, who threw about 100 punches more. But he was able to get away with a close decision, somewhat controversial, and is now in line to fight the winner of Wilder and Helenius in the first half of next year. Now, that looks like his likely next opponent would be the winner of that fight. If that's the case, what's next for Andy Ruiz Jr.? And I think it's going to be a mega fight with Deontay Wilder, the former heavyweight champ. That would likely be for the WBC interim title, as the WBC is in the mix of allowing Usyk to compete for undisputed against, allowing Tyson Fury to compete for undisputed against Alexander Usyk in the first half of next year. So if Deontay Wilder is next, what could be coming after the Wilder fight if Ruiz were to upset Deontay Wilder? You know, it's hard to see a year from now down the road. It really is. But personally, I don't think Ruiz beats Wilder. So a year from now, probably nothing going on for him. If he loses, he gets knocked out, he's probably, done for the remainder of 2023. But what if he were to beat Wilder and become the interim champion? Would the winner of Usyk and Tyson Fury fight him? I honestly think that's very, very possible, because Ruiz has a big following and a big name. So, I'm going to run through the top 10 and see what's possible if he were to upset and defeat the winner of Wilder and Helenius in his next fight. And again, though, if Helenius were to pull off the upset over Wilder, we're not looking at so much of an upset if Ruiz were to beat Helenius. But if he goes into a mega fight with Wilder and he can beat him, that's huge for Andy Ruiz. Ruiz can take a punch, and even though Wilder punches with dynamite in his hands, Ruiz can take a punch and he can hurt opponents, and he's able to go the distance. So let's run through the top 10 and see what's possible for after a potential win over Deontay Wilder next year. So Tyson Fury. If Tyson Fury if there's one guy that he hasn't fought that he'd be willing to fight, just to, go out on a throne with another big payday, it probably would be Andy Ruiz Jr. He's already beat Deontay Wilder twice, knocked him out. A lot of people feel he won the first fight as well. No point in Fury if he walks out as undisputed champ in the first half of next year. He's probably going to give up all the rest of the belts, but would he make one last defense before he retires against Andy Ruiz Jr.? I think it's about 50-50, because Ruiz does bring a big following and fan base behind him. And if Ruiz were to upset Wilder, he could say, hey, I beat Wilder too. And if Fury beats Joshua, he could be like, hey, I beat Joshua too. I got a big name, fight me. So, of all the contenders that are going to be top contenders, if Fury were to fight any of them in a mandatory fight, I think Andy Ruiz Jr. would be a guy he would fight. So it's an attractive one. Could be possible if Ruiz were to upset Deontay Wilder in the first half of next year. Alexander Usyk. I absolutely think if Usyk comes out of everything as the undisputed champion and starts giving belts up, I think the most likely opponent that he would fight would be his WBC mandatory, if it's Andy Ruiz or Deontay Wilder, because it's the biggest fight that can be made. If it's Wilder, I think Usyk would be like, hey, Wilder's a big name, it's a lot of money, I'll fight him. If it's Ruiz, I'll fight him, he's a big name too, he has a win over Joshua. So yeah, I think that could be possible if Usyk becomes the undisputed champion, and if Ruiz were to upset Deontay Wilder and beat him in his next fight. Then you got a third fight with Anthony Joshua. Another fight could be on the table, win or lose against Deontay Wilder. We could, see a potential rubber match with Anthony Joshua. I think it might be a little too soon, especially if Ruiz were to lose to Deontay Wilder. And if he were to win, Joshua's probably not going to be on his radar, especially if Joshua goes and loses to Tyson Fury in his next fight. I don't think he'd want to fight Ruiz next year. So I wouldn't completely rule it out ever, just because they've already fought twice and they'd want to settle that final score. But I really don't think it's going to happen after a potential fight with Wilder next year. Dillian White, obviously Wilder, if he were to beat Wilder, could a rematch be in the cards? It depends on if a rematch clause is in the contract. Most of the time in a mandatory eliminator, a rematch clause is not in the contract. So, you never know. They're both with PBC. If he were to pull off the upset or it's close, they could have a little rivalry there. But, and rematch again in the first half or in the second half of next year for the WBC title. But, I really think if he beats Wilder or Wilder beats him, it's probably going to be convincing, and it's probably going to be a knockout. So we got to wait and see. 1 second, guys. Then there's Dillian White. He'd have to cross the street for that one, or White would have to get in title contention. I don't see it. Joseph Parker, a rematch. Parker, I think, is going to lose to Joe Joyce this year. And if Andrew Ruiz is riding high, why take the risk against a guy that really is built to make you look bad like Joseph Parker? So I'm not seeing that one. Then you got Luis Ortiz in a rematch. Not seeing it unless Ortiz were to really earn his way back, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's fine with the fact that he beat him already. Joe Joyce, undefeated. He's probably going to be the WBO interim and then probably the heavyweight champ. But I don't think Ruiz, if he comes off a win over Wilder, is going to want to fight a guy like Joyce in his initial defense. So I don't see it. Danny Dubois, kind of the same thing. He could be the WBA champion a year from now. Maybe there's a potential for that fight, but I'm not seeing that one either. And then finally, you got guys like Derek Chisora and Otto Wallin. I just don't see it. So personally, for me, I think Andrew Ruiz is fighting Deontay Wilder next. I think Wilder's going to knock out Helenius in October. We're going to see these two guys fight in the first half of next year. I personally feel like Wilder's going to knock Ruiz out. But if Ruiz pulls out the upset, he really is in the driver's seat in a major way. And I think there's possibilities of Fury and Usyk after that. So just got to wait and see what goes down. But that's the what's next on the former unified heavyweight champion of the world, Andrew Ruiz Jr., following his hard-fought, controversial 12-round unanimous decision over Luis Ortiz on Sunday, September 4th on Fox Pay-Per-View. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.